Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the vast expanse of human experience, guided by the principles of curiosity, critical thinking, and a passion for the past. Today, we delve into one of the most pivotal moments in human history, the origins and impact of the Renaissance. This cultural and intellectual explosion, which swept across Europe from the 14th to the 17th century, laid the groundwork for the modern world as we know it, leaving an indelible mark on art, science, philosophy, and politics. As we set out to explore this transformative era, let us first gaze upon the landscape of medieval Europe, a realm where the shadows of the Roman Empire still lingered, and the Church held sway over the intellectual and spiritual lives of the people. It was an age of relative stability. Yet, beneath the surface, the embers of classical knowledge, preserved by the diligent hands of monks and scholars in scriptoria across the continent, awaited the spark that would set them ablaze. In the city-states of Italy, particularly in Florence, Venice, and Rome, a unique confluence of wealth, power, and intellectual curiosity began to take shape. The rise of trade and commerce had created a new class of wealthy patrons, eager to spend their riches on grand architectural projects, exquisite works of art, and the revival of classical learning. Among these patrons, none would play a more significant role than the Medici family in Florence, whose lavish support of artists and thinkers would help ignite the Renaissance flame. Meanwhile, the rediscovery of ancient texts, long buried in dusty libraries and forgotten corners of the Byzantine Empire, began to stir the minds of scholars and intellectuals. The works of Aristotle, Plato, and other Greek philosophers, translated into Latin by tireless scholars such as Thomas Aquinas, sparked a renewed interest in humanism, a philosophy that emphasized the potential of human beings to achieve great things through education, reason, and individualism. The Black Death, which had ravaged the continent just decades before, had created a sense of urgency and disillusionment with the traditional authorities, paving the way for new ideas and perspectives to emerge. It was against this backdrop that figures such as Petrarch and Boccaccio began to forge a new literary and artistic movement, one that would celebrate the beauty of the human form, the power of individual expression, and the boundless potential of the human mind. In the universities of Padua, Bologna, and Oxford, scholars were beginning to challenge the established dogma of the Church, seeking to reconcile faith and reason in a way that would have far-reaching consequences for the development of science, philosophy, and theology. The likes of Marsilius of Padua and William of Ockham were pushing the boundaries of intellectual inquiry, laying the groundwork for the revolutionary ideas that would soon shake the very foundations of European society. As the 15th century unfolded, the intellectual and artistic landscape of Europe continued to evolve at a breathtaking pace. In Florence, the patronage of the Medici family reached new heights, with Lorenzo de' Medici, also known as Lorenzo the Magnificent, emerging as a dominant figure in the city's cultural scene. His support for artists such as Sandro Botticelli and Domenico Ghirlandaio helped to usher in a new era of artistic innovation characterized by a deep appreciation for classical forms and a growing interest in human anatomy. One of the most significant events of this period was the completion of the Duomo in Florence, a towering cathedral complex that would become an iconic symbol of the city's wealth and cultural ambition. The project, which had been underway for over a century, was finally brought to fruition in 1436 with the installation of Filippo Brunelleschi's magnificent dome, a masterpiece of engineering that would inspire wonder and awe in all who beheld it. Meanwhile, in the realm of literature, the works of Dante Alighieri, Petrarch, and Boccaccio were being widely disseminated, helping to establish the Italian vernacular as a major literary language. The emergence of the printing press in the 1450s, courtesy of Johannes Gutenberg's revolutionary invention, would further accelerate the spread of ideas and knowledge, making it possible for books to be mass-produced and distributed across the continent. As the Renaissance gained momentum, its impact began to be felt beyond the borders of Italy. In France, the court of King Francis I became a hub of artistic and intellectual activity, attracting scholars and artists from across Europe. The king's patronage of figures such as Leonardo da Vinci and Andrea del Sarto helped to establish France as a major center of Renaissance culture, while his own literary endeavors including his famous poem La Déploration de la mort de l'Empereur Léon, demonstrated the monarch's deep appreciation for the arts. In Germany, the ideas of the Renaissance were being eagerly absorbed by scholars such as Johannes Reuchlin and Philipp Melanchthon, who would play a key role in shaping the country's intellectual landscape. The emergence of humanism in Germany, with its emphasis on classical learning and individualism, helped to lay the groundwork for the Protestant Reformation, which would soon shake the foundations of European society. As the 16th century dawned, the Renaissance was in full flower, with artists, writers, and thinkers pushing the boundaries of creativity and innovation. In Rome, the papacy of Julius II was marked by a series of grandiose artistic projects, including the construction of St. Peter's Basilica and the decoration of the Sistine Chapel ceiling by Michelangelo Buonarroti. The Pope's famous declaration, "I will not rest until I have rebuilt St. Peter's in a manner worthy of the Prince of the Apostles," encapsulated the sense of ambition and grandeur that defined this period. As the 16th century progressed, the Renaissance continued to shape the cultural, artistic, and intellectual landscape of Europe. The Protestant Reformation, sparked by Martin Luther's 95 Theses in 1517, would have a profound impact on the continent, leading to a decline in papal authority and the rise of nation-states. Meanwhile, the Renaissance ideals of humanism and individualism continued to influence artists, writers, and thinkers, as evidenced by the works of William Shakespeare, who wrote, "To thine own self be true," encapsulating the era's emphasis on personal autonomy and self-expression. The later years of the Renaissance saw the emergence of new artistic and architectural styles, such as Mannerism and Baroque, which would go on to define the aesthetic of 17th century Europe. The likes of Caravaggio, Rembrandt, and Vermeer pushed the boundaries of visual representation, while writers like John Donne and Andrew Marvell explored the complexities of human experience through their poetry. As the Renaissance drew to a close, its legacy was already being felt, with the scientific revolution of the 17th century, led by figures such as Galileo and Isaac Newton, building upon the foundations laid by Renaissance thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci and Copernicus. Today, the Renaissance is remembered as a pivotal moment in human history, a time when the boundaries of art, science, and philosophy were pushed to new heights. Its influence can be seen in everything from the design of modern cities to the workings of contemporary democracy. As historian Will Durant once noted, the Renaissance was a rebirth of the human spirit, a rediscovery of the joys and potentialities of human life. The Renaissance's emphasis on individualism, humanism, and intellectual curiosity continues to shape our world. From the arts and sciences to politics and culture, its legacy can be seen in the very fabric of modern society. From the universities and institutions that emerged during this time to the scientific and technological advancements that continue to shape our lives, the Renaissance may have concluded centuries ago, but its impact remains palpable, a testament to the power of human creativity and ingenuity. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.